This video is brought to you by Longoni Cues.
We're still trying. Hello, ladies. Perfect. Here we go. Small. The other rule is that what? Race to 3. 5 on the
So, in short, Niels has made it with his ability, his belief, his solid foundation. I mean, family, friends, partners, and has achieved excellence. And you have set a very high bar for generations of pool players to come. And that's worth this beautiful banquet and the attendance of Billiard's royalty. You deserve it and more. I give you Niels.
It's a young Niels.
Oh yeah, the ring. Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yep. Let's see if it fits. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty short.
All right. Let me get it together here. 1 second. I want to thank Cakti for that nice long introduction. He almost put all the details that I was going to mention in his story, so I can cut it in half. But I want to thank everybody here for coming. It's an amazing feeling. I think everybody here shares this feeling when you're standing here for the first time, first minute. It's great to see all my colleagues, all the champions in the room, coming from everywhere. People flew in from everywhere, old friends, family, students in the corner. Want to thank you all for coming. I think I've stood here in the last weeks about 200-300 times. I mean, this has been going through my head like non-stop. Even during a timeout in my last match, I went to the restroom. I was thinking about the speech. And the speech. I was like, enough is enough, or I get it together. Because Mike calls you up in July, mid-July, and he says, hey, really nice, you won the Hall of Fame. Oh, great, this and this. And then in the end, he hangs up and he says, good luck with the speech. And you're like, what do you think? Oh, yeah, the speech. So in the months ahead, you see 35 years of at least my pool life flashing by, right? If it's the same as when you win a world title, you see basically your entire life, your pool life coming by, and you have to sum that up in a speech. So it's not easy. And I gave it some thought, and I think in the end it came down. I said, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to three things. You know, it's like, what is my journey like? What happened? Who do I want to thank? And what does it mean to me? And I think if I look at this group here in front of me, you've mentioned them also, it means a great deal to be part of the group of my heroes. You know, some guys are not here, like Boosty. We mentioned Boosty, Efren, Earl. But also it's guys here that I studied, like Nick Varner, Mike Siegel, straight pool 150s and out, Varner matches. It's guys I went to war with, Darren, Thorsten, Ralph. It's guys I battled against, Rodney. And I think to compete, it comes from the Latin word competere, if I say it correct. And that means to strive together. And I think, what are you striving for? And I think we're striving for excellence. Like, we all used each other to get better. I forget Mika, by the way, for the Mosconi. We went to war. I couldn't see you here. And you strive together for excellence. So you use each other, actually, if you compete, to get better. We all make each other better. And I think if you look over a long career, the older you get, the more you realize that, right? When you're young, you just want to beat each other's brains in. But the older you get, you kind of really appreciate the value of big matches and big battles. And I've had them with a lot of people here in this room, so I want to thank you for that. And I wanted to do this speech also with some pictures. I had an idea. I started digging up. I was looking for something extremely valuable to me. And I ran into all these pictures. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna show some pictures. I thought that would be pretty cool to do. Nobody's ever done that. So this is a really old picture. And I want you to just take 5 or 10 seconds and go back to the very first moment when you ever picked up a cue or hit a ball. And it's not that easy to do. And for me, it was, like Alison Fisher said in her speech, I was watching snooker on TV, and I saw Jimmy White playing Stephen Hendry on TV, and I was mesmerized with the green table and the balls, and I was like, whoa, that's really, really cool. And I think it was World Championships going on, so it was 2 weeks tournament, came back on TV, and we always had a dog in the house, as you can see, so there was always tennis balls lying around. So I picked up some tennis balls, and we had, I think I found a curtain stick, some kind of stick from where the curtains hung up. It was old-fashioned. And I started hitting these tennis balls with the stick in like the corner of a room. That's my very first memory of simulating the sport. And, I'm going to skip here. Let's see if it works. There we go. So, that's my mom there next to me. The gentleman on the left is Marcel. There was a friend of my mom and dad's, and he played snooker. So he said, why don't you go play some snooker with Marcel once? So I'm 11 years old now, and you can see the Karate Kid band on my head. So I wanted to be like a professional ninja or something at that time. And I played snooker for the first time with him, and it's funny because I remember vividly I had a shot on the right long rail, cue ball and the object ball on the right long rail. So as a right-hander, you can't reach the shot. Rodney would play it easy because he's a left-hander, or Mike. I can't reach it, I'm 11. He says, why don't you just climb on the table? So I'm climbing up, I'm 11. Snooker table's much higher, right? I'm climbing up, I shoot the ball, but I lose my balance. I can't get down, so I roll off the table. I fall on the floor, cue lands on my head, whole place cracks up. I'm totally embarrassed. I get my red head that Cakti mentioned. That's where it started from, maybe. That was my first experience, but I loved it. And I started playing more and more. We found a club in The Hague, and I started playing tournaments, got in a newspaper here. But then I became also a teenager. I was 13 here, I think. 12 even, 12. And when I started teenaging, snooker was it kind of, if people play snooker, it's kind of the same thing all the time. And we'll get into that later with pool, it's different. So I lost a little bit of interest. Plus I didn't have the money to go play all these tournaments around the country. So I was kind of stuck. I was 14, 15, and I was playing all these house tournaments. And I kind of lost my passion. And I want to thank a friend of mine from back home, this will be later, Frans van Tatenhoven. He's probably going to watch this back tomorrow when it's on stream. He was living around the corner, 10 years older. He played snooker and he played pool. And he said, why don't you come and play some pool with me? But as a snooker player, that's like, in the beginning, that's not done. Snooker players don't play pool, right? There's disrespect. But he said, come on, we'll have some fun. And I really liked it. It was at the Leaders that Cakti was talking about, this dungeon of a place. And I was 15, 16. I was allowed to have my first beer. We go there, we play 8-ball all night, break and run out. I fell in love with the break and the running out, and just the running out. That was from all kinds of places with 8-ball. Luckily then, Hague 5 opens up. The 5 members here, you see 2 of them. Staaf is on the right. He's still running it to this day, 25 years, with his wife Angela. And Alex Grunewald on the left. He used to be a big athletic guy, massive guy. And he meant a lot to me in my younger years. Here's Johan Ruysink in the middle, bold as an egg now. Had some hair then. You see me on the right, also great haircut. And I had one chance to play, there's my redhead on the right. You see, I had one chance to play the European Championships, and Holland to that day had never done anything in pool. They never got a medal. And we showed up, we got there in Luxembourg, Thorsten was there. Thorsten played 8-ball out of this world. He was 14, and you could tell like he's gonna win the IPT later, which was still to come, but he played like unreal. And we got there, Thorsten was a pupil, this is juniors, and we got second runner-up to Germany. And we lost, the guy on the left lost 9-8 in the 8-ball to win the gold. Alex is there on the left, big Alex, and great memories. We took a lot of medals, super nice trip. So I started getting this dream, and that this would be something that I want to pursue. The problem was, in Hague 5, as ambitious as it was, there was one videotape that we had to study. There was nothing. We had no study material. There was no YouTube. There was no books. We had one videotape. So we were trying to invent things ourselves from other people that watch things. We watched Rico Dix. You really had to finish watching tournaments to learn stuff. And I remember, you know, there was this one video, and it was from the 1990, Nick and Mike Siegel will remember this, the World Championships in Bergheim. You went there with a group of Americans. Earl won, Nick got third, and Joe Kerr did the voiceover for that video. Alex Grunewald, the big guy, went over to Akron and did the voiceover for that video. We'll get into Joe Kerr in a minute. And that's all we studied. So in my mind, the best players on the planet were from America. So the dream was, if I want to get better, I have to get to America as fast as I can. And like Cakti said, at that time I was doing the sensible thing. I was doing night school, practice during the day, go to school at night. I was 19. I was hanging out with students that were 35 years old. I got no connection with them whatsoever. I was miserable. I knew what I wanted to do, and I didn't know how to do it. I had no opening. So I talked to my sister, and might have been a little later. There we go. So, redhead again. And I said, sis, she's a year older. I said, I'm miserable. I don't know what to do. I want to chase my dream. She said, talk to mom and dad, because they paid the school money that year for me. So I said, okay, I'm going to talk to mom and dad. And they are super flexible in the sense to chase your dream. And they understood my story. Like Cakti said, they said, all right, if this is what you want to do, because I played pool already a few years, they understood I was fired up. We're going to support you, and we're going to buy your first plane ticket. And they didn't give me any money. I had $300 to my name. We'll get to that in a second. So now I said, okay, great, I got an opening, but now I need an opening for somebody in the States. There was no Facebook. There was no email back then. How am I going to get to the States? So I went back to Big Alex. He did that work with Joe Kerr in Akron. So Alex said, after a Monday night swimming training, we did some serious training at that time, 100 laps on Monday night. He called Joe Kerr up. And he said, I have this young man here. Can he come to the States? And Joe said, send the kid over. And the story of Joe Kerr is that he used to be a pro player, but then he became a promoter, a tournament runner. You guys know him from the 80s. He ran a lot of tournaments. Kim Davenport probably also. Earl. He ran a lot of tournaments, but he got sick. He got myasthenia gravis, which is a rare disease. And it destroyed, let me show a picture of him here. Yeah, this is massive for me. Because Alex called him up. He said, send him over. I just turned 20. And I went to the States. I flew into Chicago, and I had a shitty Greyhound ride back to Cleveland, 6-8 hours. And Joe Kerr was standing with this card that he made for me at the Greyhound station. And this, guys, was the entry ticket to my dream. This was the opening for me to get going. And it means so much to me. And because Joe passed away in 2009, he had ups and downs. But those 2 weeks were the best 2 pool weeks of my life, because I went there. I had no clue what was going on. I thought we were going to do a boot camp. He put me in action right out of the gate. I had to play locals 10 hours a day. I'd never seen an AccuStat tape, really. I saw Efren play Earl for the first time. First time I saw Efren at his place at night with ice cream. I read Billiard Digest magazine for the first time. Audio tapes, videotapes, practice, gambling. Man, I loved the gambling. It was cheap. Because the gambling, you could just explode, right? It might take a few hours, but then you could just explode your game. And you could play 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. And every day I got better and better. And I felt deeply passionate that this is what I want to do with my life, the rest of my life. And went back home, got a 6-month visa, came back. Joe and me did a road trip, 1-month trip. He gave me the entry, and I gave in return his trip to see his friends again, because he'd been sick for 2 years. So he saw all the players again at the US Open. I finished 9th. I was 20. At that time, when you were 20, that was pretty impressive. Now Joshua wins it at 18 or whatever. Doesn't mean that much anymore. But at that time, finishing 9th was pretty cool. And but Joe had his ups and downs health-wise. And he got... Oh, wait, I'm skipping stuff. In that first 2 weeks there, Joe, I met Nick Varner at the university in Akron that 2 weeks. Nick is here. I also met Aaron Zetley during that trip. Aaron's here, he's in the middle. And when Joe got more sick, he couldn't travel with me anymore. He couldn't really help me anymore. And Aaron took over. Aaron said to me, what do you want? He used to be a very competitive golfer, so he knows the work ethics. He said, what do you want? I said, you know, Aaron, I said, I don't like this hustling thing. I don't like this waiting. I want to get as good as I can, as fast as I can. And he said, you know what? Then we're going to play the better players. Because Joe, as what he did for me, was always also very conservative in the sense, the old school way, you got to play this guy, then the next guy, then the next guy. That takes forever. I said, I don't want to wait. I want to go. I want to see what we can do. So Aaron and me, we made a pact. He brought in the checks from work, his salary. I brought in the winnings from pool. We combined it. We made a pot, and we start going after these guys, man. Steve McKinnish, Jason Miller, who did we play? Eric Durbin, of course, Tony Watson, those guys, right? Those guys were at just above me, and I had to go play him if I wanted to try something. And we made some big scores in the beginning. We went up money. We were pumped. And then, of course, we got overconfident. Yeah. So we started playing the Filipinos. And that's when you burn. So also, we stayed at Mr. and Mrs. Zetley house a lot. They're here. Great memories from that time. Mrs. Zetley made the best pasta fazool that was ready for us at midnight or 1 in the morning after a tournament. And they're here. Thank you guys for coming. Really cool. And so this leads to a very, very cool story because I started losing to the Filipinos, and we went to a camel tour warm-up event in Cornfeds, Columbus, Ohio. I think Ralph was even there. He showed up there. And there was a ton of professionals from the camel tour. Nick was there. And Boosty was the #1 player in the world. And he was my idol. And I was in a downer because I lost all this money. And I was outside and I said, man, I just lost 2 matches in the tournament. I said, Aaron, I don't know about this. I'm not sure if I can do this, man. I'm not feeling it at the moment. And he says, I understand, but we got to try and make some money. I got you a game. And he says, I said, all right. Well, who is it? I said, you'll find out. And we got back to the pool table. There are 3 action tables there, and I sit down and I'm depressed. And over comes Bustamante. And he's getting his cue together. He's hitting some balls. I said, that's pretty cool. I said, Boosty's here. I said, at least I can see him also play. He says, that's who you're going to play. Get your ass up there. So I'm like, what? So I went from the most depressed person in the room to like the most energized within like 3 seconds. And I won the flip. I ran the first 5, races to 9 we played just for 100. I ran the first 5, I ran 3, and I ran another rack. 3 innings, it was 9 zip. Wow. And Boosty had a head on his head, like a baseball head on. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Over the Top from Stallone. He did this, and he got angry, right? And the next set he beats me, I think Hill or 9-7, and then he beats me 9-3. But Aaron says you still owe me 100. But the moral of the story, that I was so down, and those 3 sets proved to me like, man, I'm still on the right track. You know, I can do this. It was an inspiration instead of a $100 loss. It proved to me like I just got to keep going. Just keep going. It's all there. And so, Aaron, thank you very much for that. I think I'm going to applaud because that was amazing. And yeah, let me see here. Then it was after a couple of trips, 6 months trips. It was time to go back home and turn pro because the days of traveling were over. And Johan and Crystal here, Johan Ruisink. I've known Johan since I was 15, also from the time of the leaders. He had a pool room close to the Hague, and he made me the house pro. So if they're going to watch this back, Johan and Crystal, thank you very much for all the support over the years. They got me going in the tournament circuit, paying for events early on. And then 2001, like Cakti said, was my breakthrough year. I won my first Euro Tour. Got runner-up at the straight pool tournament, won my first European title. And then, like Cakti said, it was time to to start looking for some sponsors. And that's when I have a totally different story of getting Cakti on my side, because I think I just called him up and said, Cakti, do you want to work together? And he said, nah, I just don't really have time for that. And 30 minutes later, he calls me back, he says, let's do it. So that was my version. Anyway, we're getting old. And we started working together with Pierluigi, who made the trip also. And 20 years we've been together with 3 different cue lines. And both of you guys are totally awesome. I'm really proud to call you my friends. And yeah, they came here all the way over the Atlantic just for 2 days to be here. Super, super cool. So thank you guys for that. Then, I want to thank my other sponsors maybe. That's also Kamui Masato tried to be here. I want to thank him. I want to thank Prostar, Mr. Winkel from Los Angeles, couldn't make it. Hague 5. Still proven important to me. Staff and Angela, thank you. And Phosphor Shirts from Germany, also big thanks. Then we're going to get to a little bit of a family side, because 2004, it was time for another European Championship. And that's when I ran into Miss Blue Eyes, Miss Jensen, and who was a ferocious player herself with a high run and straight pool of 78. And silver medal winner at the Europeans, bronze medal winner at the Europeans. So I had to get that one, right? So we got together pretty fast, and we traveled around. Kat traveled with me all over. She was with me when I won the first Derby. She was with me at the Challenge of Champions, the World Straight Pool, when I won that. And then Kat became a professional mother because the kids, they also demand some attention. But I want to say you deserve to be up here. With me. I mean, the stuff you do when I'm not home is just unreal. At 6 in the morning, making lunch boxes, picking the girls up, bringing them everywhere. And I love you. And I thank you. And then, yeah, I'm getting there, bro. Yeah. Here's some cool pictures when we were really good looking. She still is. I'm not. She still is. This was in Fujairah at the World 8 Ball. And, I mean, she is hot. So, but then it was time to, we wanted to make a family. And Lena was born in 2010. And she's I didn't think I was going to have such a hard time. But it's good therapy. Because the story behind Lena's birth was pretty traumatic for Kat and me. It took 120 hours, which basically means 5 full days of pain and labor without hardly any sleep, which ended in a cesarean, and it could have gone really bad. Kat was really struggling, and in the end it became a cesarean. We were really happy Lena came, but it was really a shock the way it went. And then of course the parents know that in early days you get 0 sleep. So it just stacked up on top of each other. And I had a big problem with my game the first months because of the tension in my body. And here's Lena in Hangelar. Joshua and Pia know this place, of course, Fuji. After the finals, which I won. And here she is in Norway. She was there. Luckily, they don't play pool, I'll tell you that. I'm blessed. But they experienced some pool. A couple of pictures. At the Moscone Cup, on TV with Darren. That's the last time Darren saw her, I think. And like I said, it was very traumatic in the sense that there was tension in my body. I couldn't execute well. I couldn't perform. I was struggling. And I asked for help, and I've done that many times throughout my career. There was a lady in Holland, Moos Nederveen. I want to thank her. She was a therapist and body work specialist, and she did all kinds of exercise with me for tension release. We were traumatized. It almost went bad. We almost lost both girls at one. That's how I felt, at least. So I got it out. And pretty soon after, I started relaxing more. I started playing better, and I got to the finals of the World 8-Ball, like pretty shortly after. But I lost to Carl Boyes, 12-11, Darren's buddy. And the year after, I got to the World 8-Ball finals again. And Dennis Orkulo beat me, 10-5. So really nice, but I got 2 second places in a row. And that's when Mr. Mike here ran a great story early in 2014 why I hadn't won enough majors. He said, because I won tournaments, but I didn't win enough majors. And I was like, this month. I felt backstabbed a little bit because I won a lot of tournaments, but apparently I didn't win any majors. But I want to thank Mike deeply because he really ignited a really intense fire in my belly. And with the help of Alex Lely, who really worked hard on my tactical game that elevated rapidly. And Jared Tandler, sports psychologist, worked with for a long time. Great guy. We worked intensely. And in 2014, it was my turn. So, Mike, thanks a lot for the fire in the belly. And you're here all week. Yeah, I'm buying beers. And like I said, it took some years to get over the trauma before we even thought about having another child. But when we did, Sina came in our life, and where Lena is the firecracker and the passionate, and Sina is the lover of animals, and she has the most amount of fantasy you will ever experience. I just let her lead when we do stuff. You know, we're taking a bath, and there's animals everywhere. And I'm like, you go, and I'm following, and we have a blast. It's hilarious. And this is during the Europeans in Holland when they were there, and both of the girls are really into horse riding now, which is causing a big problem in our lives logistically. And can't get this thing to work. Here we go. We're trying to get out in nature and stuff. And recently, we bought a pony, and I'm totally screwed. Lasse is laughing, my brother, because he knows. Which means basically, if I'm not home, Kat's driving to the horse six days a week, taking care of everything, and then you got competition and blah blah. But my philosophy is, I got my chance to live my dream, so I'm returning the favor. Because in horse riding, you're riding with these C+ level horses, you can compare it to pool, and then it stops. They don't get any better. So if you want to improve, you got to buy the pony. So that's what we've done recently, a few weeks ago. So if you want to make donations on the front, please. And let's see, we're almost there. I want to take a little moment. Also, what was really important throughout my career has been sparring partners. I believe for also anybody on the planet, it's very important to test your game with equal or better players. And when I was younger, Ortman was one of the guys that liked to play 50 euro sets, and we played for hours. And we did that many, many times. Fabio was one of those guys, Petroni. Me and Huji played a ton of times. Huge, thank you. Who else? Was there another? What did I write down? Mickey Kraus. Mickey's an upcoming champion. We play when he's in Denmark. Tough guy to beat. He's getting better and better, thank him. But the one and only is Efren. And I deeply miss Efren. Because one session with Efren for me would be enough inspiration to get going for 6 weeks again and train hard. Because the stuff he would show you in one session of 4 to 8 hours was just sick. And I've played him all games, and I just truly miss him, the games, you know, the one part, especially rotation. That was my favorite to play him. And there's one funny story with Efren, because we played all the time. We're playing at Charlie Williams tournament in somewhere, I can't remember his tour. And he says, Nils. He probably had some teeth in his mouth, I can't remember. And he says, we're going to play 8-ball. I'm saying, 8-ball? We're playing a 9-ball tournament. He wants to play 8-ball. But I'm saying, whatever I can play him, I'm going to learn something, right? So always $100 sets, raised to 10, and we got no rack. We're racking with our hands. So whatever. And the score is 9-8 to me. And he puts a rack on me you can't believe. I think 4 balls hit the rail. The thing just opened up, and I said, Efren, for real? You know, he's serious? Come on, man. Because I played him enough times to like say, come on, man. And he runs the rack out. I said, I can't believe this son of... And so I'm almost embarrassed. I gave him a rack. I put that 1 ball, it wasn't even touching the rack. I gave him the worst rack of my life. And I think 3 balls came out. It was disaster. And he went, hey! I said, that's what you get. You got right back. So we battled it out and I won. I won 10-9. But it was just the reaction of him. And if he watches this ever, Efren, thank you for all the games. Hopefully we continue one day. What I also wanted to say, that's the way I grew up. You played your idols, Boosty, Efren, whoever you could find, and then win or lose, then you would ask the questions. That's how I learned, right? You didn't go up to a champion, hey, how do you do this? How do you break? No, you invested college money, and then you asked the questions. And Efren, like this situation, one pocket, I have the pocket where he's shooting from. I said, Efren, what would you do here? And he comes up with 3-4 solutions in 2 minutes. I said, man, just so creative. So, and Lina's there in the corner learning something. And so great times with Efren. I want to thank all my roommates. Ivo on the left, Tim de Ruiter, Nicky Vandenberg, my World Cup of pool partner. I want to salute him. Marky Bijsterbos, I share a room with him, my buddy, here at the Dutch Championships. And I want to salute just a lot of friends I've made over the years in various countries. In Belgium, my Mosconi diehard fans. Jimmy from Holland, who couldn't be here tonight. This is after the World Pool Masters, after the tennis elbow injury. Great moment. For people who didn't know this, I've been DJing for over 30 years, also producing music. Here's Melvin Rees, used to be a pro DJ. We're good friends at the Europeans doing a back-to-back set. Great memories. My German buddies in the German Bundesliga, great memories with them. A lot of good memories here. And of course, going back to the roots, Hague 5. Want to salute all the crazy people there. And to finish it off, Shane gave me a ride the other day from the pool room. And I said, I was joking with him. I said, Shane, are you ready for your speech next year? He's not even in yet, but he's got a good chance with winning all those regional tournaments. And and he said, yeah. I said, what do you think should be in a speech? Blah, blah, blah. So we start talking a little bit, joking. And he said, I think it should be something in a speech where you inspire the youngsters. And I said, you know what? That's actually a really good thing. So thank you very much. So I want to say, to end it off, if youngsters watch this back, I think I want to give a good tip, too. One is, don't compare yourself to anybody else, right? I do the mental courses and the YouTube channel and stuff. And I think I read a lot of books. Don't compare yourself, right? You got to try and find your own strengths. If you're comparing yourself to others, you're going to lose because there's always something better in another player that you don't have. I don't have Joshua and Jason's intuition, but for example, my strengths, there's a great strength assessment test you can do with Martin Seligman's website. And my strength, for example, is perseverance and discipline and zest, life's energy. So I can use all those tools to get to my goals in my life. I don't have to have their things. If I'm saying, I don't have that, or I'm going to get depressed, I'm going to lose. So I want to focus on me. I want to be the best version of me. And I think that's a good tip. I want to give that to the youngsters. And also, we're living in a world, social media-wise, where everything has to be quick, everything has to be easy, and that's not how it works. I think the youngsters should learn, don't give up so easy, right? You have to work hard. if it's a dream of yours, it's not going to be hard. And keep working, put in the work, focus on the process, and then the results will come. So I want to thank you all again for being here and celebrating this with me. I hope it wasn't too long, but it was great fun for me. So thanks again.
Yeah, it worked. It always is. 1, 2. Thank you very much. Thanks.